Hey guys, Cardfight here, and today I'm here with the Blaster Blade Exceed Alfred Oath deck profile. So without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. So I actually built four decks with Blaster Blade Exceed, or with the new support at least. And I'm gonna showcase this first because it's the one that I've actually playtested with. I haven't playtested it with my other builds yet, but most of them use cards from the new set, so I'll showcase them later at a later date anyway. But let's start off with this deck first. So for starting Vanguard, we're running Wingle Brave. Wingle Brave is a very old card, and you might have a hard time finding him, but he is quite good for this particular build. And I think a lot of other people are planning to run him as their starter also. But anyway, what he does is with this card in the soul, when this card boosts a card with Blaster and hits at the end of the battle, you can search your deck for a card with Blaster in its name and add it to your hand and then shuffle your deck. So basically, if you boost a Blaster with this card and you hit, you can just search your deck for any Blaster unit. So this card was the main starting Vanguard for most Magic Slur decks back in the day, but with the new Blaster support now, the card is actually even better because it's live as soon as Grade 1. So for the Grade 3s, we're running 4 Blaster Blade Exceed, the new Blaster Blade from the Legend deck. So what he does is kind of lost 1. During the turn, when a Saver unit starts on top of this card, you can search your deck for a Blaster Blade card name with a Blaster Blade card from your deck and add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So basically, when you shard either, let's see, so for our G zone, we can use this, these, and this, because they all have a Saver in its name. So as long as you try to Saver, you can search your deck for a Blaster Blade. So you can either search for a Stride Fodder, or you can search for a Blaster Blade to call out so that you can combo it with your other cards. And the second skill is kind of last one. When this card is placed on Vanguard or Rearguard Circle, you can choose one of your opponent's Grade 1 or above rearguards and retire it. So it's a pretty good retiring effect. It's nice that they give him a rearguard effect, so that's good. And by searching for Stride Fodder, I mean if you shard on top of him with the Saver unit, you can search your deck for another one of these and just add to your hand so you can stride with it next turn. So you can also do a bit of deck compression there so that you don't drive and check into Grade 3s, which is not bad. So 4 of those. Next we're running 4 Luminous Light King of Knights Alfred Oath. So this card is from the character booster, and he has 2 effects. The first effect is Generation 2. During his turn, this card gets plus 2,000 power for every one of your rear guards. So pretty much like the old Alfred, but he can be boosted, and he is an 11k base. So obviously he's better than the OG King of Knights Alfred. Second skill is kind of lost 1. So lost 1. Choose a card from your hand, discard it. When this card is placed on a Vanguard circle, if you have a Blaster or a Swordsman of Light card in your soul, you can pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for 2 greater Swordsman of Light or Blaster cards and call them into separate rearguard circles. So basically, you can ditch 1 to call 2, as long as you have a Blaster or a Swordsman of Light card in your soul, which is honestly not that hard. So why? Because you run a majority of your Grade 2s as Blasters, and you also have Grade 1 Blasters, so it's not that hard. We're running 4 Blaster Blades. You guys know what Blaster Blade does. The Blaster Blade is quite essential for this deck because we are running the Blaster engine, so yep. Skill is, when this card is placed on Kind of Lost 2, when this card is placed on Vanguard Circle, you can retire one of your opponent's rearguards. Second effect is Kind of Lost 2, when this card is placed on Rearguard Circle, if you have a Royal Paladin Vanguard, you can choose one of your opponent's Grade 2 or above rearguards and retire it. So not the best effect for Kind of Lost 2, but it is from BTO1, so and you're not really running him for his own effect anyway, you're running it for his friends. So yeah, running 4 Blaster Blade. Next, running 3 Blaster Blade Spirit. So Blaster Blade Spirit is a 10k base, so that is very important. But his first skill is kind of +1 when it's placed from the rear guard circle from your deck. You can choose from your opponent's front row, grade 2 or above rear guards, and retire it. And the second skill is when this card is attacked at the end of the battle, retire this unit. And then this card is also treated as a gold paladin, which doesn't really matter. But actually, yeah, the main point is that he's a 10k, so if you do ride into him, you will have a 10k base, which is pretty nice for against rush decks now. And he does combo with some of your other on-call skills, like Alfred Oath. If you call him Blaster Blade with Alfred Oath, you can trigger his skill to retire a unit. So essentially, it's kind of like an extra plus, or it's a minus for your opponent, but I guess it's a kind of a plus for you. Get rid of some annoying rear guards. So there's that. And we're running 4 of the Lius, the Light and Dark Liu. So skill is when this card's boosted by the Flogo or the Blaster Friend Barkle or the Foro Paladin Flogo, you can at the end of battle this card gets plus 3,000 power, and at the end of the battle it gets a new skill, and that new skill is kind of +1. Move this card in Soul. When this card attacks at the end of the battle, you can pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for a Blaster grade 2 card and call it to a rear circle, and then during this turn, that unit has plus 3,000 power. So, also we're running 4 because the rest of our grade 2s are all blasters. So, kind of obvious why to run him. And you do get some multi-attacks in with him because you do call them out, and even though they are 10k, 9k, they do get the extra 3k, so you can get an extra poke in. And if you're comboing with some other stuff, you can. If you're comboing with the Flogo, you can get some extra attack in if you call out a Blaster Blade. So you can further multi-attack, which is nice. And yep, Liu is just a pretty decent card. And he's not Generation Break restricted, so if you, theoretically, if you have an early game, you can just spam some attacks. So, yeah. And we are, for great ones, we're running 4 Wingle Youth. So, he is a new card from the new Legend deck. The skill is, when this unit attacks or boosts at the end of the battle, if it hits, then you can look at the top 10 or top 7 cards and search for a Blaster Blade card and add to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So you can search for any Blaster Blade card with the Blaster Blade name. So you can search for Blaster Blade Exceed, Blaster Blade, and Blaster Blade Spirit. So if you are rushing with your great ones, if you do search for Blaster Blade Spirit, you can ride into it. Otherwise, I don't really recommend adding him to your hand because he's mainly good for riding. And the good thing about this Wingle is that you don't have to move this card into Soul unless you add a card to your hand. So if you miss, then you just don't lose a unit. So it's pretty good. Very good rush card. And next, we're running 4 Blaster Friend Barkle. So mainly you're running him because he has the Blaster name, so he does count towards the Blaster unit for Alfred Oath, and you do get the counter charge if you call out a Blaster Blade. It has to be the original Blaster Blade, so it's fine because you're running 4, and a lot of times you will call it out, so you will get the counter charge. But as I said before, he's mainly here for the Blaster name. Alright, next we're running 2 Shridefaughters. 2 is enough because you do get a search for these, so mainly you want them for early game to shred with. later on when you keep striding saber units, you can just keep counterblasting one for another copy of himself. So nothing to worry about there. And running 4 unflipped perfect guards, mainly because it's Epona. And counter charging is nice. This deck will eat a lot of counterblast if you're doing your restanding Blaster Blade combos. So, yep. Betrayer is running 4 of the Alfred unflipped crit. Keep in mind that this card does require you to have a grade 3 Alfred Vanguard, not just a grade 3 or above. So if you are striding, you can't use this skill. I'm running 4 of the Floral Paladin Flogo. Obviously running her because you're running the Blaster Engine. She's a very good card. She kind of makes the deck sometimes. It's an excellent finisher. And combined with the new Alfred, you can restand your Blaster Blade. So after your drive check, if your opponent guards for 2 to pass and you stack all your triggers onto him, or you just stack one trigger onto him and you don't hit, you still get to restand it. You don't get the drive check, but you do get to attack with a bigger number, so it's nice. Anyway, another running Liu for the vanilla crit. You can run any trigger you want here. Actually, you can run draws if you want, but I think crits are a bit more aggressive, which is nice because this deck, it's not super aggressive because it runs 8 grade 3s, but you can go for the aggressive play. I have a build that runs only 4 or 5 grade 3s, but I am still playtesting with that, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, that deck is way more aggressive. This deck is more, I guess you can say it's more conservative. I'll explain it later when I talk about the G-Zone. And of course we're running 4 of the heals. So that's it for the main deck. Ignore the background noise. Alright, so on to the G-Zone. For the G-Zone, we are running 2 Holy Dragon Myriad Soul Savior. So sometimes it's going to be your first stride, which is perfectly fine. Skill is Soul Blast 3 when this card attacks. If you have a Alfred or Blaster Heart, you will hit the cost of you. You can choose 5 of your rear guards, and they get plus 5,000 power. So you're going to hit for pretty decent numbers on your first stride. So it's going to deplete a lot of opponents' shield if they want to guard. If they don't want to guard, they're going to take a lot of damage. So then you might be able to finish your opponent off the next turn. So it's quite a powerful effect. You don't get the Superior Call, but if you stride this over Alfred Oath, you'll probably have 2 units on the field already. So you'll only need to fill in the other 3 slots, which is not that hard. But I actually wanted to play the new Stardust Trumpeter, Star Hope Trumpeter, and Marin, but they're in my other builds. This deck is mainly focused on the Blaster Engine, so I'm not running those right now. Next, we're running 2 Religious Soul Savers. This card is mainly just here for first. If you stride this as first stride, you might get the extra crit if you have 2 blasters in your soul. So if you have 2 blasters in your soul, you might want to ride this over Myriad Soul Saver. Both are viable options for the first stride. If you don't want to run this, you can run Outmiles instead. I'm not running Outmiles because I mainly want to run this with nostalgic cards. So, but the extra crit does actually come in quite handy. Being able to get extra crit on your first stride is very good because your opponent either can't guard it, or they can't guard your rear guards because you also get to buff your rear guards with this card's effect. So you guys don't know what it does. It's counterblast 1, G flip 1 Religious Soul Saver card from your G zone. And then when it's on Vanguard Circle, if you have a Blaster Heart, you may pay the cost. If you do, choose 3 of your units, and it gets 5,000 power. And then if you have 2 or more Blaster units in your soul, then you get extra critical. So Friendly reminder, this doesn't work if you ride into Alfred, but if you ride into Blaster Blade, it's fine. Or stride into Blaster Blade, it's fine. The problem with that is you do have to use the skill when you call it, when you first stride it. So if you did some aggressive plays early game and your opponent retires your units, then you might not be able to use it. But you know, maybe your opponent's not going to kill off your units. But you do still get extra critical even if you don't get above your units. So it's fine. Alright, next we are running 2 legit sword dragons. So this card came out also in the character booster. Skill is once per turn, count loss 1. If you have an Alfred or a Blaster heart, you may search your deck for a Swordsman of Light or a Blaster grade 2 or below unit and call it to a rearguard circle. And then shuffle your deck, and then that unit gets plus 2,000 power. So it makes your Blaster Blade 11k, which is a decent number. We are not really running Swordsman of Light in this deck, so don't need to worry about that. I was running Blaster Javelin LaRusse earlier, but I don't think I need it anymore for this build. I replaced it with Blaster Blade Spirits because the 10k base helps me more than the Alfred support. So, yeah. Alright, next we're running 2 Holy Squire Dragons. So skill is once per turn, G flip 1 Holy Squire Dragon. And then if you have an Alfred Heart, you can unlock all of your units. You can unlock all of your locked cards, and then during this turn, this card gets a new skill, and it's during this turn, for every rear guard, all your rear guards gets plus 2,000 power, and then the second skill is Generic 3. During this turn, this card gets plus 3,000 power for every one of your rear guards. So you get a 4k power to your columns, which does help because if you have an 11k and you have a 7k booster, you will get a hit for a magic number. So, for example, if you somehow get the Blaster Blade buff by another 2k, either through, I don't know, attacking with a Liu or something. Actually, if you're attacking with a Liu, then the Liu column will already hitting for a magic number. So, don't need to worry about that. Anyway, mainly this card is here to play against lock decks, because there are still lock decks out there. They're not super prominent, but just in case you are matched up against it, you have the option. So having the option to unlock units is better than not having the option to unlock units, especially since if they do lock units, you do lose a lot of your attack power. So yeah, this deck is pretty rearguard dependent, so it's nice to not have your units locked. If you're really scared of Blink Trigger, you can run 4 of these, but not recommended. You can run probably 1 less of this and 1 less of this for 2 more of those. So, yeah. And next, we're running 4 of the new Alfreds. So, skill is once per turn, Generic 2, count loss 1, G flip a card with the same name as this card, and discard a card from hand. If you have an Alfred or a Blaster Heart, you can choose a Blaster Blade card rearguard, and this turn it gets plus 3,000 power. And a new skill, and the new skill is during the first attack of this turn, or during the first battle of this turn, that unit gets Twin Drive. So even Blaster Blade, if you're grade 2 Blaster Blade attacks, if it's the first attack, it gets Twin Drive. So it's kind of like the, I think it's Murakumo card. It's kind of like that, except unlike the Murakumo card, you also have Flogal, so you get to restand your rear guard and attack again. But you don't get the Twin Drive, so it's only for the first attack when you use this card. If you can Twin Drive again, it'll be too good. So I understand why they did that. So yeah, running 4 of those. G-Guard's running 1 or 2 of the Fighter Selection 1, and 2 of the new Isolde or Isolt. So the skill is kind of last 1. Going to discuss place on the Guardian Circle. If you're Alfred or a Blaster Vanguard, you can pay the cost. If you do, For every one of your rear guards, this card gets plus 500 shield. So it's a very good G guard, but it does cost counterblast 1, so be careful. If you blow up all your rear guard, or if you blow all your counterblast the turn before, then you can't use it. So if I were to make any changes for this deck to make it a bit more competitive, I guess I would take out one of these and one of this for an alt mile, just so you have the consistency to call any grade 2 you want. But sometimes actually, if you have enough soul, this does come in handy. But yeah, you do get a little bit of slow charge with this and your Luse. So yeah. But this card I rarely use more than once, but yeah. So you have a lot of first ride options. If you don't want to use your Soul Blast 3 for some reason, or you can't build up a field, you're probably going to go into him. If you have a full field, you could go into him. So, or her. Soul Saber Dragon was a her, but I'm not sure if this is a her. This looks more like Sing Saber Dragon, I guess. So, anyway, enough rambling for this deck. I don't know, I have a lot of energy today, so I decided to make a deck profile. Yeah, so out of all my blaster decks, I playtest it with this first, so I'm just going to give it a fun rating for these decks. I might do a fun rating for all my deck profiles from now on, but out of the fun ratings will be out of 5, so this is the Card Otaku fun rating. It's going to be my opinion, of course, but the fun rating for this deck is 4. It's a pretty fun deck. So much nostalgia playing this deck. I mean, you receive so much of your old units like Blaster Blade, and Blaster Blade, and you also see Alfred. And you see Barkle and Liu, and you know, this new kid in town, but it's fine. You need it for the Stride Fodder. He can join the cool kids soon, I guess. He can ditch his buddy Altmile and join the Blasters for a bit. Anyway, yep, there's that, and there's Wingle. Wingle's always good. You know, exciting stuff. I mean, this guy is a new guy, I guess. I haven't seen this guy before. But yeah, you guys Flogo and Liu and you just Elaine. So yeah, good stuff. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this deck profile. I'll be doing a probably. I still need to test my Sing Blaster deck. It's gonna be pretty different. I'm not gonna run the Blaster engine with that. I'm gonna run the Bedivere and K, because those guys are pretty fun with the Sting Sabers. You get the counter charge and the soul charge, so it's pretty good. And also playtesting my Majesty Lord deck, but I don't really like playing that deck. I'm also playtesting with the Sentry Guard, and I'm playtesting with a pure Exceed Rush deck. And I'm also playtesting with some Alfred Legion stuff that's not running Exceed, but you know, since this support also supports Alfred, you'll probably be seeing that stuff soon too. Lots of stuff I want to playtest, but I'll be away for 2 weeks next week. I'll be going to Australia, so that's gonna be cool. I'm probably gonna do an update video about that later. But anyway, yeah, again, that's it for this deck profile, guys. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Cardfight, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!